Hello everyone, Ron here from L.T.L. Tutoring Central, and this week's video is going to be one in a series about how to help your child with his or her homework or school in general. And the reason for that is over 20 years I've been tutoring, and I get a lot of calls from parents or parents who come to see me here where I do all the tutoring. You can see the big table behind me and the files. We're getting ready for students today a little bit later. And often the parents are asking, what can we do at home? What can we do to help our child at home? And sometimes I get phone calls even from school teachers, which might sound odd because they teach. Why would they be looking for advice? Well, because when you're at home, you're mom or your dad. You're not a teacher to your child. So teachers face the same issues as every other parent, and they may have some ideas already, but sometimes it's good to get ideas from other people. I'm always listening and reading and learning from others as well, including other teachers, other tutors, and parents who do any number of jobs. Everyone has different experience and different ideas of what works and what doesn't work. So this series of videos will be talking about tips that work generally, tips that work for almost everyone. And this week I'm talking about the learning space primarily, creating a learning space for your child or for your children. And sometimes this can be difficult when I mention to parents, find a space in your home that can be quiet to do homework, and they think, are you insane? Are you crazy? There is no quiet space in our house. But with a little effort, usually you can find a place that can be quiet during the homework period or homework time. And it doesn't have to be a whole room. If you're lucky, if you're fortunate to have a whole room to dedicate to homework space, that's great, but it doesn't need to be that. It can be a corner in a bedroom, a corner in the dining room, possibly if there's space in the basement, a spot there. It doesn't have to be huge, but you want to have a specific space that the student gets to sit down and do his or her homework every day. This dedicated space, it just seems more professional, even though it's still within the home. It gives a more professional attitude or environment for the student. And if you can, try to get the child involved in creating this space, doing some things and including some of the aspects that he or she wants in the space, as long as it contributes to the learning process. So they can choose, colors or the desk or some of the supplies, things that are going to go into that space to provide a learning environment. If they feel involved, they're more likely to dedicate themselves to sitting down in that space and learning. A lot of people shake their heads and say, yeah, not my son, not my daughter, but you would be surprised that if they get involved, how much more encouraged or motivated they feel. They want to be a part of it. If they just feel that everything is being put upon them, they might do it, but they're just doing it because they're supposed to do it, rather than being a part of it and taking it on themselves. It's part of my learning experience. This is for me. And that's what you want to do at all times. And sometimes it takes a while for that to take effect, but give it a try. You never know. They might want to at least put up a poster, a learning poster or some motivating poster, something in that corner or in that room that will help them. It could be a little bulletin board, something that's theirs, that they feel that they've contributed and that this is really their space to do homework. And then you have to respect that space as well. You need to make sure that it's going to be quiet during that time period, even if you have to unplug the phone if it happens to be in that room, or you have to turn off the television, turn off the radio, keep things quieter during that homework time. Believe me, the world won't end if you don't answer the phone for an hour or so. You want to have a desk or a table in that space, because having a nice hard flat surface is good for spreading out your books. It's also good for writing, printing, And also, just like I say, spread out your books in order to study from. It's much better than, I know a lot of students tell me, oh, I do it on my bed at home, and they lie upside down and they write upside down, and that's not the best idea. First of all, the writing will be very messy, most likely, and also the bed is for sleeping, and you really shouldn't be using the same space for your homework as you are for sleeping, because you're probably going to get tired a lot faster, or you're going to nod off, and you're not really dedicating yourself fully concentrated on your homework. So try to have a desk or a table. It doesn't have to be huge. A chair that is firm, comfortable, but firm. Not too comfortable, not so that they're falling asleep again. Again, you have to stay awake, and you want to have good lighting as well, because if the lighting is too dim, it makes you very tired. Of course, if it's far too bright, if it feels like you're in an airport or something with all the lights shining on you, that might be too much. So you need to find some good reading lighting, and that's just a good lamp. That's all it is. It's nothing fancy, nothing expensive. But that, again, is more conducive to studying and learning and staying awake and focusing on task, particularly if it's a dedicated space and they get used to doing that. So those are some of the things that you need in the space. Another is, if you don't have a desk with drawers, if it's just a table, you need somewhere to store the supplies. So you could use a little shelving unit. It could be a movable one, a portable one. I'm going to put a link below to a few supplies, but you probably have things around the house that will work. It could even be a basket or a series of baskets. There you put all the supplies in, and they either slide under the table or they could be stored in a closet. You pull them out during the homework period, but everything is in that area during that time, so that they don't have to run around the house looking for scissors or crayons or a pen or where's the calculator or where's the tape. All of those things are stored either in that area or in baskets or something that you can get into that area all at once, rather than trying to find each individual item throughout the house. I know students who spend a lot of time going on wild goose chases trying to find instruments or products that they need to do their homework, and then they don't get it done because I was looking all over for it. Well, have it there, then you don't have to do that. So quiet. You can make it quiet by just telling the other children and yourself and your wife and your husband, everybody has to take responsibility. This is quiet time. Might be a good time for you to sit and read a book and enjoy your magazine or something else if you're not actively helping with the homework. And if you're not actively helping with the homework, you really shouldn't be in that space. You should be doing something else quietly, because you want the student to take responsibility, and you want him or her to know that this is their space, their time to get their homework done. So if you take it seriously, they're much more likely to take it seriously as well. So it's sort of a family thing. It's a whole unit that has to work together. And I know that's hard sometimes. And if you have really young children, it's very hard to keep them quiet at all times. I'm reasonable. I understand that. But often there are things you can do, other rooms you can go to, or something that you can do to make it a little bit quieter during that time. As I say, it's usually an hour or two, that's all. You can also use a sort of white noise, or a machine that makes a little sound in the background that will drown out other noises, especially if there's noises outside that you can't really control. You can't control your neighbors. So something like that, and you can just turn on a fan. Often a fan will make enough noise, and you don't need to have it on you. It can be pointed in another direction, but it's just for that low-level noise that will drown out some of the peaks and valleys of noise that might come from cars, beeping, whatever's going on outside. There are machines that you can purchase. So some of them are quite reasonably priced as well, that have different sounds. The only issue there is that some of them are intended to help you go to sleep. So if it's going to put you to sleep, then it probably isn't what you need. But you could choose a sound that is relaxing and helps with concentration. They've actually found that some of these white noise machines or sound machines, whatever you want to call them, because it's not always white noise. They have different sounds, but they're more constant and they can help you concentrate. So I'm going to put a link below for one of those as well, but there are many. And again, as I say, you can find something around the house like a fan that will probably do the job as well, so you don't have to go out and buy something new if you don't want to, but the machines are fun too. So those are a few ideas that you want to use for setting up a learning space. And I think having a learning space, a dedicated learning space, even if it's only in the corner of a room, a part of the room, that's good enough, and it becomes, that little corner, that little space can become really unique and really special for the student to learn from. So I hope that's very helpful. Next week I'm going to be talking about agenda, using the agenda, something, the bane of many students' existence. Maybe some parents do, I don't know, but boy, can they be helpful and can they make a difference. So I'm going to talk about that next week. At least that's the plan. And I will put a link below to the blog, which has some ideas I might have forgotten to mention, but it's also in print, so you can see that, and there'll be links there too. And I'll put a link to the website also. If you have any questions or comments, you can put them here if you're watching on YouTube, or you can email me. I'm always happy to hear from people, and also tell me how you make out with creating your learning space. Maybe you already have created an amazing learning space, and maybe you're about to create one now. So let me know how you make out and how it works for you, and what are some of the ideas that have worked for you or your child in this learning space. Because the more we work together, the better it is. The more we can all learn, and the more we can all change things to make it better for our own learning and also for our children to learn too. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. If I'm not talking to you or answering your questions in between, it's Ron from L.T.L. Tutoring Central, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye for now.